and welcome to Flourish Flow. I'm your host, Amy Rohrer, yoga teacher and owner of the Yoga Hut in Tillsonburg, here to help you connect and integrate your dots to true wellness on your healthy living journey. If my own wellness journey has taught me anything, is that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to flourishing, and that we all have our own unique path. We're here today at Breeze Fresh Market. They are one of our show sponsors located in Ostrander. So a big thank you to Bree and Kyle for welcoming us here to film this season. And a big thank you to our additional show sponsors, Laura from Escape Salon and Spa, and also Jen from Hometown Styles in Ingersoll. On today's episode, we are joined by Manager of Volunteer Engagement and Public Education of the Alzheimer Society, Megan Fife. Megan's team is all about giving back and building strong communities. They are the public ambassadors for the society, spreading awareness near and far, which she is here to help do today. So welcome to the show, Megan.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, lots to chat about here today. I'm wondering if you get started just by sharing a little bit more about yourself and then what led you to working with the Alzheimer Society and a bit about your role.
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, my name is Megan, and I started with the Alzheimer Society almost 3 years ago, December 2021, and I was hired as a volunteer specialist. So I was responsible for interviewing and recruiting and onboarding all of our new volunteers. And over the course of the last 3 years, I've kind of moved up into a different role. So now manage the volunteer department in public education. In my prior life, I like to say I actually worked in the field of autism. So I worked with children with autism in a classroom setting, and decided during COVID to go back to school for volunteer management, and did so online, and then ended up finding myself here. So yeah.
I love there's so many pivots that happened during COVID.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about the work you do now, what your role entails, and
Sure. So I'm responsible for a team of 2 on the volunteer side, and then I have a team of 4 in public education. In regards to volunteering, we go out into, the regions in Woodstock, Oxford, Elgin, and London and Middlesex, and we look to recruit volunteers to support our many programs and services. So we have, group recreation programs that require volunteers to support. We have one-to-one opportunities for volunteers to participate in, as well as we do a walk for Alzheimer's at the end of May every single year.
You sent me some interesting statistics, which I thought I would share. So currently, the Alzheimer Society of Southwest supports more than 14,500 individuals living across Elgin, Middlesex, and Oxford counties. And last year, your team supported more than 435 volunteers across the region, which is pretty amazing.
In terms of education, we do have 3 pillars of care. So a big portion of that is education, both client and public. So we provide education to, caregivers as well as people living with dementia in our offices as well as out in the community. And then we also provide public education in, brain health or dementia-friendly communities, and just raising more awareness and understanding, because there is still very much a stigma associated with dementia. So that's a big part of it. We also provide, counseling and support services to, again, people living with dementia and their care partners, and then our various programs through therapeutic recreation. So again, as I mentioned, that is the social. And so the social focuses on the domains of well-being. So, cognitive, spiritual, physical, well-being, and they'll do exercises. One of my favorite things when I attended the social, and this is for volunteers, it just honestly is a lot of fun. They use a giant exercise ball, and you drum on the exercise ball to music from the 50s and 60s. Or they'll play game shows in the social, they'll make crafts. There's a really great social time where you can have some coffee and just chat and get to know the clients in the program. And then the in-home rec program that I referenced earlier is a one-to-one match. And so volunteers go into the client's home, and they meet with them once per week for 2 hours. And they do therapeutic rec activities. So that could be playing a game of chess together, going for a walk, having a conversation, maybe reading a book. And it's just, again, providing that socialization for the individual, as well as some respite time for the care partner. So those are the primary volunteer opportunities in the Oxford community specifically, pardon me. But again, we do have, our Walk for Alzheimer's, and there's 4 of them across the 3 regions that we serve. So there's one in London, one in St. Thomas, one in Woodstock, and one in Tillsonburg, and that takes place at the end of May every year. So that's another great opportunity for people to get involved.
And, like you talked about stigma, and there are barriers, right, for people who might be diagnosed and to find these resources. So maybe you could talk a little bit about some of those barriers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, coming out of COVID, we saw a lot of social isolation, right? And due to that, there has been a large increase in individuals seeking out services. So as an example, in 2010, we were seeing roughly 10,000 people within all 3 regions, with dementia. And now in 2024, we're seeing 15,000 people. So that's like a 50% increase, right? And then through COVID, that's increased even more. So we're roughly having 150 to 200 new referrals every single month that are looking for, counseling supports or programs and services, respite care. And barriers, could be perhaps family, right? Not necessarily knowing that we're out there. So we do try in our department with that community outreach is just to be as visible and accessible as possible so that people know that we're there, and to try to erase that stigma associated with dementia and the Alzheimer Society, that we really are a place of inclusivity and belonging and support. We really just want to offer that support to everybody. Yeah.
I'd imagine too, like early accessing services for where you come in.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And, we really do work with the family and the client, and, deciding what programs and services might suit them and in their journey. So perhaps, the the group recreation program is the right fit, currently, but then down the road, maybe in-home rec is a different option. We also have a phone-friendly caller program. So sometimes clients, perhaps aren't able to get outside the home, maybe transportation is a barrier, and we don't want them to not be included and be able to still access services. So we have, 8 volunteers that actually will call them once per week. And they call both, people living with dementia as well as their care partners, and just have a friendly chat to try to remove that social isolation.
Nice. So if somebody were seeking support for a loved one or themselves, what would be the steps to applying? And like you said, you kind of personalize what would be best for a person to get started.
Yeah.
So how would you determine that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you could get a referral through your doctor, but you can also self-refer. So you can apply online, fill out an intake form on our website, alzswp.ca, as well as you can call into our office. So we have offices again in Woodstock, London, and St. Thomas. And so any of those offices, the staff would be more than happy to assist with that intake process. They'd ask you a series of questions to figure out where that the client might best fit, and then kind of take it from there.
Okay. And yeah, they would kind of guide you into the right place to start.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for sharing the info so far. We're going to chat more with Megan, and actually a volunteer special guest, after this short break. Welcome back to Flourish Flow. I'm your host, Amy Rohrer, joined today by Megan Fife and Debbie Smith. Megan Fife is from the Alzheimer Society of Southwest Partners, and you actually brought a special guest today. Maybe if you want to tell us a little bit more about the lovely lady next to you and what she does, and then we'll kind of dig more into her story.
Absolutely. So this is Debbie Smith, and she is a volunteer with us in Tillsonburg specifically. So she is actually a volunteer in an in-home recreation program, as well as one of the walk organizers for Tillsonburg. Yes.
So maybe if you want to tell our viewers a little bit more about what you do and how long you've been volunteering with the Alzheimer's.
Sure. So, I guess my background is recreation and leisure. So I've always had an interest in seniors, and it just sort of grew to residents with dementia and Alzheimer's. I have been volunteering since 2011.
Okay.
And that was through my place of employment, where I was a team captain for the walk in Tillsonburg. Started helping with the walk kind of behind the scenes, and then gradually just got more involved. Again, just keeping involved in different ways. There's so many different opportunities at the Alzheimer Society. So the walk is one. Then I got involved in the in-home recreation. So I had a client for a number of years, and visiting, once a week for 2 hours, and I really enjoyed that. It was just so personal, and really got to know the client well. Enjoyed the stories and the knowledge, just sitting with somebody for 2 hours and engaging with them. It just was such a great feeling to do that.
So, I mean, again, all of our programs, whether it's in person or on the phone, the primary focus is that socialization. During COVID, we were socially isolated, right? And that impacted the individuals living with dementia and their care partners greatly. We saw a lot of care partner burnout. We saw, an increase in kind of the trajectory of dementia with people that were living with it, because they weren't able to get out to programs, right? They weren't able to interact, in person. And while, yes, it impacted all of us, that demographic greatly, felt it greatly. And so out of COVID, the Care and Connections program kind of came about. We didn't have it initially, and so we were trying to think kind of outside the box on how to create socialization without being in person, as we all did, right? And so again, even if you can't meet in person, we can still offer that socialization piece through a phone call. And it's incredible when we talk with volunteers, and like Debbie mentioned, the relationships, the friendships that is built out of the one-to-one in person, it's also seen within the phone calls. I have many volunteers who are in the Care and Connections program that tell me, that they've created such a special bond just over the phone, and they've never even met in person. And it's through that socialization. It doesn't really matter what format. It's just making that connection, and both feel it on both ends, right?
We were wired for connection. Yeah, it's actually one of our human needs that to go without it, and be pretty detrimental.
Absolutely.
So kind of on that topic of well-being and flourishing, before we go to break, what does a life of flourishing mean to you? And maybe if you both want to answer that, Megan, what does living a flourishing life mean in your opinion?
I mean, truly, since I was in elementary school, volunteering has always been something that it was something that made me flourish. I love giving back, whether it was volunteering with JKSKs or being on, a walk planning committee. I really feel that flourishing means human connection and human interaction, and making a difference in the lives of, as many people as possible. Even if it's something that you might feel is super small, it might not be to that other individual. So to me, that's what flourishing is.
Yeah. And what about you, Debbie?
Totally agree with Megan as well. Sense of purpose as well, kind of in those, for me, early retirement, and it really gave me a sense of purpose, good sense of well-being, and, being able to help somebody in such a small capacity for me, but in such a large way for them. So, yeah.
I agree, and I've asked this question on many interviews, and purpose and, giving back is something that people often talk about, and I think it's an important pillar that can definitely support us to flourish, and why it's wonderful that you guys are here today. If someone wants to volunteer or get in touch, if you want to share how they can reach out.
Absolutely. So they could go to our website. As I had shared earlier, there is a link to apply online, or they can reach out to us by email at volunteer@alzswp.ca, or call one of our offices, and one of our team would be happy to chat more with you about the various opportunities that you could participate in within your region.
We'll be back to chat more with Megan after this short break. Welcome back to Flourish Flow. I'm Amy Rohrer, joined today by Megan Fife from the Alzheimer Society. We've chatted about all that you do, all the wonderful programs offered. And one thing that we haven't quite touched on, but is something that you guys are also actively doing, is helping to educate communities and businesses on how to become more dementia friendly. And again, kind of be more aware of the stigmas out there and how we can offer support throughout our community. If you want to talk a little bit about that, dementia friendly tips that you have.
Absolutely. So our education team is working really hard behind the scenes and collaborating with various businesses and organizations to become a dementia-friendly community supporter. And what that means is we really just want our communities to become more inclusive, supportive, and have that general awareness and knowledge around, what dementia is and how best to support the people within your community that are walking through your doors, so whether it's a grocery store or, a church, and to provide that education. And so for dementia-friendly communities, what we ask of organizations is that 75% of their staff complete an education series that talks about, what is dementia, as well as meaningful engagement, communication strategies, and things like that. And then we ask the organizations to write out an action plan over 6 months. And an action plan could be, truly anything. It could be something like, our staff are going to wear name tags now, so that when, individuals are out in the community, they know who that person is. It could be, things like ensuring that there's signage up, right? And where's the front door, the back door, where's the bathroom? Even, labels on things, in the grocery store, so you're able to find the objects, as well as lighting, right? Ensuring that the lighting isn't too bright. Noise, not having too many distractions, as sometimes we can find when we're having, interactions. Those are just some of the small things, but they make a great impact for people living with dementia. So that's one of our biggest focuses, is just creating a more dementia-friendly community and getting more organizations and businesses on board with that. And if you do participate in it, you do get a decal to display on your door. So when people are coming to visit you, you're identified as a dementia-friendly supporter.
Okay. And if somebody wanted to attend a workshop, or perhaps were a business that wanted to go through that kind of program, how do they learn more or sign up?
Absolutely. So if any organization is looking to become a dementia-friendly supporter, they can absolutely refer to our website for more information. And they can reach out to any of our educational coordinators. And there's one in every region that we serve. So again, Oxford, Elgin, and Middlesex. And in terms of general public awareness, we do offer reducing your risk sessions. A lot of the times they do take place at your local libraries, and they are drop-in. And so we talk about, how to keep your brain healthy and active and things like that. So, you could definitely, again, refer to our website, because we do list any of our upcoming education sessions that are open to the general public.
Wonderful. So you kind of touched on it, but reducing the risk and improving our cognitive health. What are a few tips, if you don't mind sharing with our viewers, of just ways that we can reduce the risk?
Absolutely. So, just the idea that whatever is good for your heart is good for your brain, right? So physical activity, getting lots of rest. I know a lot of us, I'm guilty myself, not getting a full 8 hours that night, but making sure that you are getting your rest, drinking lots of water, limiting your, caffeine intake, your alcohol intake, and doing things that stimulate your brain. It could be crosswords, Sudoku, word searches, and different things like that, or even taking a class, going back to school, taking a college class. I know we have one client, in fact, that has actually done that himself. So there are lots of ways to kind of stay engaged and keep your brain healthy.
And I know at our local senior center, there's lots of activities that my mom goes to yoga and a few things there. And it's amazing how, active one can be in the retirement years as well.
Absolutely. Yes, no doubt. And I mean, we see it in, again, our group recreation program, the social. We have it in our office, in the London office, and it is just amazing when we're working in there, just hearing the camaraderie, and playing music and they're singing, or the various exercise routines that they're doing. All of that stuff is truly just it's good for your mind and your body and your soul, right?
They're all connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great point. So as we kind of move towards the end of our interview here today, one thing that we talk about a lot is kind of the pillars of wellness and how, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. We can't just be taking care of only our physical body. It's all connected. So what does your self-care routine look like? And how do you nourish yourself? You're working, you're giving back to your community, but how do you give back to yourself?
I mean, it's something that I'm working at every day because I am a mom of two as well. So life can be very, very busy. But I do love yoga. It's something that I actually started to do during the pandemic as a way to kind of ground myself and have that physical activity as well. I do love going for walks. We recently moved outside of the city of London because I just really wanted to escape the go atmosphere. And so we live more so in the country. And I just find that very therapeutic as well, and just helps me kind of find my center, if you will. Yeah.
I love that. And I think our kids are always watching us too, right? So they're getting that modeled by you doing these things and taking care of yourself as well. Okay, so a few fun questions. This is called the lightning round. So it's just fun questions. First thing that kind of pops into your mind for people to get to know you better. Your favorite movie?
Probably The Notebook. Yeah, I know.
Your biggest pet peeve?
Chewing with your mouth open.
Yeah.
Yeah, smucking.
Favorite day of the week?
Probably Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Top thing on your bucket list?
I would love to go to Italy. That is really, I loved to travel pre-kids. We did a lot of it. And so I would love to travel more and go to Italy. Yeah.
It's the only place I've been in Europe.
Oh, really?
It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say my favorite, but it's the only place in Europe that's lovely. Sushi or pizza?
Pizza.
Yeah, some good pizza in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Your favorite thing about being a mom?
Just watching them grow and become their own people. Watching them find their passions and their joys, and just seeing them just become who they're meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And summer, fall, winter, or spring?
I used to say summer, but as I'm getting older, I would have to say the fall. I just like the sweaters and the cooler temperatures. Yeah.
Yes. And what are you most looking forward to this fall? Speaking of fall.
Oh, goodness. This fall. You know what? I'm a big Halloween fan in my house. We go all out, lots of decorations. So I would have to say Halloween.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a costume already?
I don't, but we do decorate the house with animatronics and stuff, and the kids are older now, so they're very excited to decorate. So
And how do you want people to remember you?
wow. I think just as someone that wanted to make a difference, even in the smallest way, who like loved life and truly just wanted everybody to build that strong connection.
I love that. And one more time, how can people get in touch and learn more about the Alzheimer Society?
Yeah, so you can go to our website at alzswp.ca. All of our information, whether you're looking for volunteering, becoming a client, or education, can be found on there. Or you can also call us at any of our locations.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Megan, for joining us here today. And a big thank you to our show sponsors. Until next time, may you continue to flourish and find your flow.